There's many better ways to paint brickwork than just dark gray and light gray, and today I'm going to share with you one of them. Hey guys, welcome back to Black Magic Craft. Today we are going to go beyond basics and into some more advanced painting techniques. Stonework, brickwork, tiles. There is a tendency to just take the easy route and paint these using dark gray, light gray, and then maybe a dry brushing of white. And that looks fine, but let's be honest. It doesn't look that interesting, and it certainly doesn't look that realistic. Stones in nature come in a variety of shades and tones, not just gray. And as a result, brickwork and masonry work also comes in a variety of shades and tones. And you can achieve this level of variety and interest in your paintwork without that much effort. There are endless ways to approach painting this stuff, but I'm going to share with you one of them, the way I go about it when I want a more dynamic paint job. If you follow my steps exactly and use the exact same colors I show, you will get a good result, even if you're colorblind. Or if you don't want to follow the steps exactly, you can just take away from this video the ideology, the mindset to approaching this type of paintwork and do it in your own way. The important thing is to try to step out of your comfort level a little bit and go beyond just using two shades of gray. So let's do this. Before painting any foam terrain, I always do a coat of my Mod Podge and black paint mixture to harden, protect, and prime the foam. A lot of people seem really concerned about this step obscuring detail, but the only way that happens is if you apply it poorly. I don't water down my mixture, but I do apply it with a wet brush. This small amount of water on the brush is enough to dilute the mixture and ensure it gets into all the small nooks and crannies. The real trick is to make sure you completely spread out any excess. You only want a very thin coating, and overbrushing until there is absolutely no excess, no pooling, or globs of Mod Podge is key. If you apply it carefully and properly, you will not lose any detail. Even the finest indents and textures in the foam will be preserved. It's also really important that you let this coating fully dry before moving on to paint. For the base coat, I use a medium tan color. Specifically here, it's Tan by Craftsmart. Using a tan rather than a gray that is simply a mixture of white and black will look a lot more realistic by adding some warm brown undertones to the piece. Like the Mod Podge, it's important to get a full, thin coverage without any excess paint left behind. It's okay if this coat is a little uneven with some of the black showing through, as this will add some variance to the piece. I do a second coat immediately after the first while everything is still damp. Letting it dry completely before doing a second coat is unnecessary, and it will actually remove some of the desired variation in depth of color, as it will cover better if the first coat is totally dry. You'll also notice that I get this base color into all of the grout lines. Some people try to preserve the black primer in the low spots while painting, but that will give you a very subpar result. It's much better to cover everything completely and let the wash steps later enhance those grout lines. A key detail to making stonework more visually interesting is adding subtle differences from brick to brick. Using two secondary colors, in this case Craftsmart's gray and golden brown, I randomly pick out some bricks to individually paint different colors. There's no rule as to how many you do or which ones you do, but in general I keep about 40 to 50% of the bricks the main base color and the rest a combination of these other colors. I also do a few with a mixed blend of the base coat and secondary colors for even more variation. An important thing to keep in mind at this step is that it's okay that it looks almost cartoonish in its variety of color. These will all be cohesive with the dry brushing later and much more subdued by the washes. Once happy with the secondary colors, it's time for dry brushing to pick up the edge details. I do 2 stages here. The first stage I use a lighter tan. Here it's called Suede by Craftsmart. You want to be very sparing with this. Pretty much remove all excess paint from the brush and apply very lightly. An important tip is that you use a clean, dry brush for this step. If your brush is even slightly damp from washing it out, you will end up with a smearing effect that is really undesirable. I also do the second dry brushing using a plain white. I'm really light-handed with this. I only want the smallest high points picking it up. I also do all the white dry brushing from the same direction of top down. This is to help indicate a light source. This is a subtle effect, but I believe it helps sell the paint job, and it really doesn't require much extra effort to implement. Now, the part of the paint job that really does most of the heavy lifting are the washes. You can just do a basic black wash, but I prefer to do a combination for a more diverse look. I start with my basic black wash. I have a video on how to make this that I'll link at the top of the screen. I often find it easiest to just pour some wash right onto the piece and spread it carefully with a clean brush. You want to avoid pressing too hard so you don't rehydrate and smear your paint. The black wash is the one that subdues the colors and enhances all the grout lines, but I also like to add a brown wash to give some more color and grime to the stone. Last, I will often add some green wash sparingly to give a subtle mildew effect. Depending on your piece, you can either let it dry flat so that gravity takes the wash to the lowest points, or you can let it dry vertically to create a bit of a streaking effect. Both have their advantages and disadvantages, and really the size and shape of the piece usually dictates how you let it dry. As you can see, putting a little more effort and thought into painting stone can really go a long way to making a piece look more interesting, dynamic, and believable. I don't think it was that difficult, and the results are certainly better than just using 2 shades of gray. I hope you guys found this video informative and helpful. If you did, hit that like button and let me know in the comments section below. Like I said, whether or not you want to follow my steps exactly, you don't have to. The real takeaway here is to try to step out of your comfort zone and experiment a bit using a variety of shades and tones and different colors to make your brickwork look more dynamic and interesting. If you want to pick up any tools or supplies for your terrain building needs, head on over to blackmagiccraft.ca. There I have my essential equipment store where I link to all of the stuff that I actually use and recommend. And those links are Amazon affiliate links, so purchasing through them will actually help fund future videos. The other way you can help fund these videos, if you want to help me out, keep making them for the community each and every week, is by supporting Blackmagic Craft on Patreon. I'd love for you to check it out and become the newest member of the Blackmagic Craft Fellowship. That's it for this week, guys. Cheers and happy brick painting.